Middle East now, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is accusing Hamas of violating the U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement. He says remains returned from Gaza by the militant group overnight belong to a deceased hostage whose body had already been recovered by Israeli troops around 2 years ago. For more on this, I want to bring in BBC News correspondent Frank Gardner, who's joining me from Jerusalem. Frank, this is incredibly disturbing. What more do we know about it?
Yeah, good morning, Vlad. Well, a pretty major development and not a good one in the last 24 hours. So some excitement here in Israel that the next hostage was being handed over, they thought, from Hamas to the Red Cross and in turn to Israel. But forensic tests discovered very quickly that the remains that were being handed over actually belonged to somebody who the Israeli Defense Force had recovered already 2 years ago, who the family had buried. So the family are obviously extremely upset about this. Israel is furious. It is discussing right now with US officials on what the consequences of this should be. And there is another twist to this tale, which is this. Israel said that they secretly filmed using a drone. And I've seen the footage. It's not yet been released public formally, but it's been leaked to some of the Israeli media. And unless it's been doctored, it's pretty damning because it shows what Israel claims is Hamas removing a body from a house, putting it into a freshly dug shallow grave, covering it up with dirt, and then bringing in Red Cross officials and saying, look, we've discovered another body. And so they're calling it a blatant deception by Hamas. They are livid with Hamas. They want there to be consequences. And what are those consequences going to be? Well, there's a number of things that they could do, ranging from, there are a number of options here, I think, that Israel could do, ranging from renewing the war, which nobody wants, and I think the Trump administration will almost certainly say no to possibly withholding aid, to moving the yellow line between the Israeli-controlled part of Gaza Strip and the rest of it. But it's threatening the Trump ceasefire plan, I would say.
So what do we know then about efforts inside Gaza to locate and return the bodies of those remaining hostages still there?
So there is a major discrepancy here between, as you would expect, not surprisingly, between the Hamas version of events and the Israeli government version of events. Israel, its government, says they've got evidence. They don't release what it is, but they have got evidence, they say, which has been shared with US officials, that they know that Hamas know where all the remaining hostages are, the remains of those hostages are. Remember, all the living hostages, the 20, were all released very early on in phase 1 of the Trump peace plan. That bit is great. That's worked. That nobody can take that away. But it's this foot dragging, this delaying that is really upsetting people. Back to you.
All right, Frank, thank you very much, my friend. Stay safe out there in Jerusalem. When I know that you are covering the story, it's got great importance for a lot of families waiting for their loved ones to be returned back to them. Thank you very much for your reporting.